What is Nisen Bokeh and how to avoid it? Imagine capturing a beautiful portrait where the background is softly blurred, making your subject stand out perfectly. But sometimes, the out-of-focus areas can turn into distracting shapes instead of smooth, pleasing blurs. That's where Nisen Bokeh comes into play. Nisen Bokeh is a type of unwanted bokeh effect where the highlights in the background appear harsh, geometric, or irregular, drawing attention away from the main subject. Instead of creating a gentle, rounded glow, the out-of-focus points can look jagged or polygonal, which can ruin the aesthetic of your photo. To understand this better, let's talk about what bokeh really is. Bokeh is the quality of the out-of-focus parts of an image created by your camera lens. Good bokeh looks smooth and rounded, helping to isolate your subject from the background. Bad bokeh, like Nisen Bokeh, looks harsh and irregular, which can be very distracting. Nisen Bokeh often happens because of how the lens's aperture blades are shaped. If the blades are straight-edged or fewer in number, they produce polygonal highlights instead of perfect circles. This shape becomes obvious in the out-of-focus light spots, especially when you have bright lights in the background. Another cause of Nisen Bokeh is lens flaws or optical design issues. Some lenses are not made to produce smooth bokeh, especially if they are not designed for wide aperture use. When you shoot with a lens that has optical imperfections or less curved aperture blades, the highlights in the background can look jagged or unnatural. Harsh point light sources, like streetlights or reflections, can also make these flaws more visible. So, how can you avoid Nisen Bokeh and get those dreamy, smooth backgrounds instead? First, choose lenses known for their good bokeh quality. Prime lenses with many curved aperture blades are usually better because they create more rounded highlights. Shooting at wider apertures like f/.8 or wider can help produce a shallow depth of field and softer out-of-focus areas. But be aware that some lenses still produce better bokeh than others at the same aperture. Next, pay attention to your background. Avoid harsh, small point light sources that can highlight the flaws in your lens's bokeh. If possible, change your composition to minimize these distracting highlights. You can also experiment with stopping down your lens slightly to see if it improves the shape of the out-of-focus highlights. Sometimes, a small adjustment in aperture can make a big difference. If you notice distracting bokeh shapes, you can also use filters or post-processing tools to soften or blur those highlights. But the best way is to pick the right lens from the start. Reading reviews and focusing on lenses praised for their bokeh quality can save you a lot of trouble. In summary, Nisen Bokeh is an unwanted, harsh bokeh effect caused by lens shape or optical flaws. To avoid it, select lenses with curved aperture blades, shoot at appropriate wide apertures, manage your background highlights, and understand how your lens design influences the quality of out-of-focus areas. With these tips, your background blur will add beauty to your photos instead of distracting from them.